Imagine this. You walk into a room, heart beating just a little faster, and say your first word. Maybe it's just, "Hi." Maybe it's a simple question. And in that moment, before you even finish your sentence, everyone there has already formed an opinion about you. They don't even realize it. And neither do you. It's strange, isn't it? How quickly people decide who they think we are. Sometimes you feel it instantly. The way their eyes shift, the polite smile, the energy in the room changing ever so slightly because of something in your voice. You don't know what it was, but you can feel it. We all know this feeling. That quiet self-doubt when a conversation doesn't go the way you hoped. That replay in your head after you walk away. Did I sound weird? Did I say too much? Did they like me? Or maybe it's the opposite, that rush of connection when someone looks at you with unexpected warmth, as if they've known you forever, and you wonder, why? Here's the truth nobody tells us. People aren't just listening to your words, they're hearing your story, the one your voice tells without your permission, the little tremor that reveals your nerves, the rushed pace that hints at self-doubt, the softness that shows warmth. Even your pauses speak louder than you think. And if you've ever felt invisible, misunderstood, or underestimated, maybe it wasn't your words. Maybe it was the way your voice carried them into the world. But here's what I want you to hear. This isn't your fault. Nobody teaches us this language. Nobody tells us that our voice is like music, playing in the background of every conversation. People may not consciously hear the notes, but they feel them, and they judge us by them, often without realizing it. That's why you've walked away from conversations feeling frustrated, wondering why someone didn't get you. It wasn't about what you said. It was about how they felt when you said it. And if that feels heavy to hear, let me tell you something even more powerful. This is where your strength lies. Because if your voice is telling a story, you have the power to rewrite it. Think about the people you admire, the ones who can say almost nothing, but their presence fills the room. That's not luck. That's not magic. That's control. They've learned how to align their voice with who they really are. And once you understand how this works, you'll never hear yourself or anyone else the same way again. Imagine sitting across from someone who says all the right words, but something feels off. They're smiling, nodding, saying exactly what you'd expect, but there's a hesitation in their tone, a flicker in their voice that makes you wonder if they mean it. You can't explain it, but you feel it. That's because our voices carry more than words. They carry truth. Your voice has its own language, one you've been speaking since before you could even talk. The way you pause mid-sentence, the tremor that slips in when you're nervous, the warmth that softens your words when you care, all of it speaks louder than the actual sentences you form. People aren't just listening to what you say, they're feeling who you are. Think about the last time you met someone new. Before they even finished their first sentence, you'd already formed a picture of them. Were they confident, timid, trustworthy, distant? It didn't take paragraphs of conversation, just a few seconds. Studies show it takes less than half a second for someone to form an impression of you, and your voice is one of the first things their brain processes. That means your voice isn't just sound, it's a mirror, a reflection of what's happening beneath the surface. It tells stories you didn't mean to tell, the stress you thought you were hiding, the doubt you tried to mask with a smile, or the confidence you didn't even know you were projecting. This is why conversations can feel so strange sometimes. Have you ever spoken to someone and sensed they weren't being fully honest, even though their words sounded perfect? Or maybe someone said very little but left you feeling comforted, safe, and understood. That's because tone, pace, and rhythm speak a language far older than words. It's primal. We feel it in our bodies before our brains can even process it. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Your voice doesn't just reveal emotion, it can shape it. Psychologists call this emotional contagion. If you speak with tension, people feel tension. If your words carry calm, people settle around you. Your voice is like a tuning fork for the emotional energy in a room. Without realizing it, you set the tone. And yet, so many of us move through life unaware of the story our voice is telling. We think, if I just say the right thing, I'll be understood. But communication isn't just about words. It's about resonance, That's why some people are effortlessly magnetic. They've learned how to make their voice match their true self. They're not just talking, they're connecting. You felt this, haven't you? That electric moment when someone speaks and you feel completely drawn in. They may not be louder than anyone else, but something about the way they speak feels real, grounded, and unshakable. It's not magic, it's alignment. They've learned how to make their voice carry confidence without arrogance, warmth without weakness, and truth without apology. The question is, what story is your voice telling right now? If someone met you today, what would they feel before they even knew your name? Would they feel your confidence or your anxiety? Your authenticity or your mask? Here's the good news. This isn't fixed. Your voice is like clay. It's shaped by your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, and your self-perception. If your voice feels like it's telling a story you don't like, you can change it. But first, you need to hear it, to become aware of what people are actually experiencing when you speak. Because once you see your voice for what it really is, not just sound, but a reflection, you unlock one of the most powerful tools you'll ever have. A voice that isn't just heard, but felt. A presence that lingers even after you stop speaking. And that's where this journey becomes even more fascinating. Your voice isn't just revealing your emotions, it's shaping your entire life, whether you realize it or not. You've probably felt it before. The way a single conversation can change the way someone sees you. Maybe it was an interview where your voice betrayed nerves you didn't want to show. Maybe it was a first meeting where someone treated you with instant respect and you weren't sure why. It happens fast, doesn't it? Quicker than we'd like to believe. The truth is, your voice doesn't just carry words, it carries you, your experiences, your fears, your confidence, and even your self-worth are woven into its tone and rhythm. Whether you realize it or not, every word you speak paints a picture in someone else's mind. And the wildest part? They decide who they think you are within seconds of hearing you. Science backs this up. Researchers say people form impressions of trustworthiness, intelligence, and even warmth in less than a second of hearing someone speak. A single hello can set the tone for an entire interaction. Your voice becomes a silent ambassador, shaping opportunities, relationships, and even your reputation long before your words have time to explain who you really are. But here's something we rarely stop to consider. Our voices don't just reflect our inner world, they shape it too. The way you speak doesn't only change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. Think of the last time you raised your voice in anger or whispered with hesitation. Your body responded, didn't it? Your heartbeat changed, your energy shifted. Your voice isn't just a sound you project. It's a loop of feedback between your mind, your emotions, and your body. And this is where it gets powerful. Because if your voice carries so much influence, imagine what happens when you start using it with intention. When your tone matches the confidence you want to feel. When your pacing reflects calmness, rather than rushing to fill the silence. A steady voice has a way of calming not only the listener, but also the speaker. This isn't about putting on a performance or faking confidence. It's about alignment. When your voice becomes a reflection of your truth, not your anxiety, not your self-doubt, but your truth, people feel it. That's why some of the most impactful speakers in the world aren't the loudest. They're the ones whose voices carry weight because they've learned how to speak from a place of authenticity. Maybe as you're hearing this, you're thinking of moments when you didn't feel heard, when your voice felt small. I know that feeling. We've all been there, wishing we'd spoken differently, or wondering why someone misunderstood us. That's why this conversation matters, because your voice is more than a tool for communication. It's a mirror of your identity, a force that shapes every connection you have. And if this resonates with you, if you've ever felt overlooked or misunderstood, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Not for numbers, not for algorithms, but because your words might be the lifeline someone else needs tonight. There's someone out there scrolling right now, feeling unheard, and your comment could remind them that they aren't alone. When you begin to understand your voice as something powerful, something alive, everything shifts. You stop obsessing over sounding perfect and start focusing on sounding real. And that authenticity draws people in more than any polished performance ever could. Because the truth is, people don't remember every word you say, but they'll never forget the way your voice made them feel. Your voice is not fixed. It isn't something you were born with and doomed to carry unchanged for the rest of your life. It's a living record of where you've been, every insecurity, every victory, every quiet moment of doubt. And because of that, it's something you can reshape. Think about it. When you were a child, your voice was unfiltered. It cracked and squeaked with laughter. It carried excitement without hesitation, and it trembled openly when you were afraid. Over time, you learned to edit it. Maybe you were told to be quiet, so you softened your tone. Maybe you felt ignored, so you learned to rush your words, trying to be heard before someone interrupted. Every interaction left a trace, like fingerprints pressed into clay. Now, as an adult, that voice, the one you use every day, isn't just yours. It's a collection of habits, defenses, and learned behaviors. But here's the truth. Just because your voice carries your past doesn't mean it has to dictate your future. You can rewrite it. You can reclaim it. The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to how your words feel, not just how they sound. Do you find yourself speaking too quickly, like you're apologizing for taking up space? Do you keep your tone soft, afraid of coming off as too much? Or do you speak sharply, using volume as armor? Every one of these patterns tells a story, and becoming aware of them is the key to rewriting them. And rewriting doesn't mean faking confidence. It's not about adopting a radio voice or mimicking someone else's style. It's about alignment, making your voice a true reflection of who you are when you're not guarded, when you're safe, when you're fully yourself. One of the most powerful tools you can use is something deceptively simple: silence. Most people fear silence in conversation, so they fill it with rushed words. But intentional pauses? They carry weight. They show confidence without a single extra syllable. Try it. The next time you speak, give your words room to breathe. Watch how people lean in when you do. Another tool is pacing. When you slow your voice down, your words feel heavier, more deliberate. And warmth, real warmth, can be added not just through your words, but through subtle choices, like softening your tone or smiling slightly while speaking. Your voice becomes a mirror of your inner calm, and people feel it before they even realize why. Here's what's beautiful. As you begin to shape your voice intentionally, something inside you changes too. When you hear yourself sounding calm, confident, and steady. And here's the best part. Once your voice aligns with your true self, it stops being just a sound. It becomes a presence, a quiet force that changes the way people see you and the way you see yourself. There's something magnetic about certain people. You've met them before, the ones who don't need to be the loudest in the room, yet somehow, every head turns when they speak. They don't demand attention. They command it without trying. Their presence lingers long after they've stopped talking, like a song you can't get out of your head. That power isn't about looks or status. It's not about speaking perfectly or memorizing clever lines. It's something deeper. It's presence. A rare quality that makes you feel like the person in front of you isn't just talking at you, but to you, like they're fully here, fully grounded. And often, that power comes through their voice. We've all felt the opposite too. Conversations where the other person isn't really present. They're nodding, smiling, even saying all the right things. But something about their tone tells you they're distracted. Their words are there, but they're not. And it leaves you feeling empty, like the connection never really happened. Presence is rare because it requires courage. Most people speak from a place of fear of judgment, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough. That fear seeps into their voice, making it tight, rushed, or distant. But those who found true presence speak differently. Their words carry calm. Their pauses feel confident, not awkward. Their tone makes you feel safe, like you're finally being heard. And here's the secret. That kind of presence doesn't come from trying harder to impress people. It comes from alignment. when your inner world matches your outer expression, when your voice reflects your truth rather than your anxiety. Think about the people you truly admire. Maybe it's a teacher, a friend, a leader, or even someone you've only seen from a distance. What drew you to them? Was it their perfect choice of words? Or was it something you felt? The best communicators aren't performers, they're mirrors. They reflect safety, empathy, and understanding. And that's why people trust them, follow them, and remember them. Your voice can carry that same quiet gravity, not because you've perfected every word, but because you've stopped performing for approval. And this is why presence is so rare in today's world. We live in a time of constant noise, endless notifications, conversations that compete for attention, and a culture that rewards speed over depth. But presence is the opposite. It's slowing down. It's creating space. It's letting your voice carry calmness in a world addicted to chaos. Imagine the power of walking into a room and not needing to prove yourself, speaking without rushing, letting your words carry weight because they come from a place of stillness rather than fear. That's the kind of presence that changes relationships, careers, and even lives. Because people don't remember everything you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. This doesn't mean you'll never be nervous again. It doesn't mean you'll never stumble over words. It means you'll start speaking from a place deeper than performance. You'll begin to see your voice not as a tool to impress others, but as a bridge to connect with them. The truth is, most people will never tap into this level of presence. They'll spend their lives worrying about being liked, chasing approval, and performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. But if you're willing to step off that stage, to stop performing and start being, something incredible happens. You begin to carry yourself differently. People notice. They can't explain it, but they feel it. And that's when your voice becomes more than sound. It becomes influence. Not the kind that shouts to be heard, but the kind that draws people in, that changes the energy in a room, that stays with someone long after you've gone. That's the rare power of presence, and it's not reserved for a chosen few. It's something you can cultivate. It's something you can own. Your voice is more than... Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. They don't need you to perform. They need you to connect. To speak in a way that makes them feel seen, understood, and less alone. That's the power you carry every time you open your mouth. And if you've made it this far, maybe this message was meant for you. Maybe you've been questioning your place, wondering if you're heard, wondering if you matter. Let me tell you this, you do. Your voice matters more than you think. The way you speak, the way you listen, the way you share yourself. It leaves ripples in people's lives that you'll never fully see. So here's my invitation. Don't let this video be the end of this conversation. Leave a comment, not just for me, but for the people who will scroll through and read your words when they need encouragement most. And if this message spoke to you, consider subscribing. Not because I need a number, but because I want this to be a space where voices like yours are heard, valued, and celebrated. Your voice is your fingerprint. No one else in the world carries it. And when you start to speak with authenticity, when your words align with your soul, you stop trying to sound like someone else and start sounding like you. And that's the voice the world has been waiting for. Because when you finally embrace that voice, your true voice, everything changes. Conversations feel lighter, more meaningful. People don't just hear you, they feel you. And something shifts inside of you too. That constant need for approval begins to fade. You stop performing for an audience that was never really watching, and you start speaking from a place of truth, of calm, of quiet strength. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. The way you speak becomes a reflection of your growth, your journey, and your resilience. Every word becomes a piece of your story, woven into the lives of the people who hear it. And what's beautiful is that your voice, your authentic voice, can create change you may never see. A kind word said at the right moment, a story shared when someone needed hope, a calm tone in a heated moment. These are the ripples you leave behind, often without realizing it. So don't underestimate your voice. Don't silence it because of fear or doubt. Use it, not to impress, but to connect, to bring warmth into a cold room, to remind someone they're not alone, to carry truth into a world filled with noise. Because every time you speak with intention, you're shaping not only how others see you, but how they see themselves. And maybe that's what the world has been waiting for. Not just your words, but you.